that's cool. Oh yeah. Happening, man. Ooh. Hey, welcome to a new video. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Hands together, head bowed. This is Hex Drum. It is a synth drum plugin. It has 7 different sounds it can produce. It has the different notes that can play it. Let me turn off MIDI box because I'm playing a jam. So you can see you get kick, snare, tom, but it has a whole lot up its sleeve. It can go some really, really cool places. What's really nice about it is it's $39. And that's its retail. It has an introductory price going on. Here's their website, oblivionsoundlab.com. And it's Hex Drum. It's got the right vibe, VST3 and audio unit. And so you can grab it. It works. We've unified it. So I'll be showing you some of that cool stuff in a little bit. Let me show you this first. The layout, because it's super, super cool. You click up here to choose which of the sounds you want to edit. You have the tone, which is a waveform. Then it has 2 types of pitch bend. One that takes it below a set point, so it has this much deeper. And then A, which is just a fall off from the pitch that you set this at. Right? So the snare, again, you also have noise. Then you can mix the two. Right? And then you have a click. Which has both a decay and a kind of a tuning a little bit as well. And it does a really cool like compression to the actual tone and noise elements. So the 3 together that sounds like the Simmons drum kits from the 80s and 90s. I mean, now it can go other places too, so I'll show you a couple examples. There's also an LFO. Which is fast enough to go into some really cool ring mod, other harmonic kind of stuff. Both to tone and to noise. Or both. You also have saturation. Velocity changes the pitch. And all sorts of stuff. So depending on how you have... That's because of the velocity. If this is off, it's just one pitch. Your panning and gain. So all of those parameters available to work with for each of these 7 different sounds. Now there's some cool utilities. For one thing, you can right click and you can choose what label you want this to be. So if you want this to be a ride, or else if you want it to be some sort of a special effect thing, you can do that for each of the 7. It also has groups. So you can do hi-hat close and opens if they're both on group 1. Now, one will cancel out the other when they play. Under the settings buttons, there's some cool things. For one thing, if you want, you can just click the little dots here and change the notes to whatever you want it to be. I'm going to put this to a general MIDI typical setup. So closed hi-hat, and then this is normally open hi-hat. So if you hit reset, it will go back 1, 2, or 4 times oversampling. You'll hear a little bit more detail. It is a little more CPU heavy to do that, of course. Let me show you some of the kits. I've got a MIDI box groove over here playing away, so I can... There's 40 kits. right? And then, like I said, I have unified this, which means you can go over and load it here. And what's fun is I have, if you see MIDI box over here and it's grayed out, you can ungray it and it'll play a MIDI groove. And if you want, you can double click MIDI box. I think I have like 12 grooves I came up with at the end. So you can click here to see them as a list, or you can use a little plus and minus like it's a radio station and change. Right? And I did some patterns that aren't just, you know, your typical 80s pop stuff. Down at the end, I included 6 kits that I made that are different than what you find in the kits that come with it. These are only available to Unify. This is a free download, but you have to own Hex Drum and you have to own Unify and use the VST3 version. And then you get these guys. Right? Different style than the 80s, but it can do it. Here is Bossy Bossa Nova. And I put the little snare on its own channel with reverb. Dance Hall Days, this is to recreate like I love Wang Chung, listened to them since I was a kid. I've recreated their groove, which you have to slow down to 103 beats per minute. You also have to enable the second layer and unmute it. I have it going through a reverb gated effect to recreate the sound of the original, right? And it's kind of fun. I'm using Pump House as a gate. So you can control the gate, like gated reverb effect. So you can do all that kind of stuff if you want. But when you first call this up, it's these guys are all muted. So you have to unmute the 2 MIDI boxes and unmute layer B to get the reverb effect of the snare. If you have this muted, it's just the groove without it. But that reverb, that's what makes the sound of Dance Hall Days to me. So Monday Blues. And again, you can play this, open up Hex Drum, change the kits. Go to the snare. Oh, there's a tom playing it. Nice, you can see them lit up. I should also point out, check this out. If we go back, revert. If we go back to Monday Blues and hit the groove, on the macro knobs, I have set up so you can change the decay of everything. There's effects, distortion, delays, and Pump House. So you can mess up these drum kits and the grooves inside a Unify really easy. It's all set. Every one of these patches have these set up. So one more thing, if I wanted, say on this snare, I could go over here and I could go to the plugin and go to voice 2, to tone 2 pitch. And now I am I want to go the other direction. So you can change and have as many parameters as you want assigned to a knob. I just have basics for the decay and so forth to make it simple. Okay? But those are all available to add. So Hex Drum from Oblivion Sound Lab, Unify from pluginguru.com. And this library, there's a link to download it in the description or on the Unify webpage at pluginguru.com. I have a list of all of the products that we have unified. These are plugins, Obsession, Coniphonium, the DC-106 and the CA-2600 Wave Razor have been unified. So those patches are all available because what's fun, you can take this and you can right click and say add as a new layer. And you can stack these to make all sorts of new types of. Add birdie on top and. So I've got 4 drum kits to make something that's far more modern sounding than just a Hex drum kit by itself. So all sorts of good things going on. Hope this helps. Hope this inspires. That's what we're here for. See you later.